Hey everybody. So I've heard from a couple people having some trouble setting up GitHub, getting all that set up. And when I went back and looked over the new statewide course shell, I kind of realized that is a long video in that setup instructions. It's like over an hour long. It's like they try to cover everything about GitHub all in one sitting. And that's a lot. It's a very powerful tool that software developers often use, but we can learn it slowly stretched out over time and not try to take it in all at once. So I thought I'd make a short video here, just going over the sort of minimum to get us started, which is basically a GitHub account where you can upload stuff. So let me share my screen here and we'll look at that. I guess the starting point is going to be the GitHub website. So go over here, github.com. And I created a new repository last night. After you get your account set up, you just hit new to make a new repository. There's no limit on repositories or the number of files you put in them. So you can make a new repository every week, or you can make one repository for the class and just put folders inside them. Whichever method of organization makes the most sense in your mind. I made one last night. There it is, with our course name on it. Summer 2022, SDEV 220. And I'll use this one for the course and did a couple examples, kind of looking at some stuff, but this is how we'll be submitting our tools. So if you have seen a brief introduction to it, usually when brief introductions to GitHub, you might as well be keeping your code on like Google Drive or Dropbox or something. It doesn't seem any different than online storage, but there's a lot of powerful tools here. But here on our website, that's a good start. We can upload files right here. There's an add file button. So once your repository is created, you can just set up a Python script. I'll open a text editor here. New file, and I'll save it with a testing 123. That seems like a good name. And then giving it the .py extension will let the computer know it's a Python file and get the color coding and all that. But I don't really need to do anything, so I'll just throw out the standard example. That'll work. There's a Python script now ready to do something with it as far as GitHub. So now that I have the file, I can upload it to GitHub. So I'll go ahead and close out of the text editor. And there's this add file button where we can upload files. And you'll see it's just a drag and drop to do that here. So for the most part this semester, this would probably get you by. Just drag it over, drop it in there. Slight issue here, we'll see after, and then we commit to the changes. The issue is that I put it right here on the top level. We probably want that like nicely organized into folders and stuff. So the best way to do that, I'll go in here and delete this file. Commit to the changes. And probably want to put it in a folder. And the easiest way to do that, well, if you create a new file here, you can add directory structures in, but it's a lot easier just to create a folder on your computer and then drag that in. So if you create a new folder, video example, that seems like a good name for it. I'll put the file there, and then when you go to upload this on the web page, you can just drag that whole folder in. And then it comes with the directory structure as well as the file. Keeps things organized. That would be sufficient to get the homework to me. And then you just kind of go in there and copy that link, and then that's what you would submit for your for the assignment. There's a lot of powerful tools here, and there are limitations on the website. For one, we can only upload 100 files, which probably sounds like a lot right now, but as you progress further into software development careers, you will find that 100 files is not very much at all for a program. And we can easily pass that. So we need to use, we have better ways to access the power that we have with the repository. So first thing you want to do is you want to download Git, and you can just search for that. So just download Git, and you want Git Scm. So if you come to this page, git-scm.com/downloads, choose the one for your system and download and run the installer for that. I already have it on mine, so that's fairly straightforward. Just hit download and double click on the file, and it should run on any of these 3 systems. Then you'll be set up for it. So what that comes with is 3 different things. Well, multiple things, lots and lots of things in the background. But as far as apps, like what we're familiar with using, there are 3 of them. There's a bash shell that will work with your Windows system. It can be nice. You do have to make some modifications to have admin access from the bash shell, your own custom command prompt, or a little GUI. I'll start with the GUI. That's nice and easy to use. So to work with a repository, I already have one here on GitHub. We can kind of see it in the background here. So I don't need to create a new one. I'll clone an existing one. And where is that? That's this URL right here. But we need it as a repository, not just the link in the web browser. So in the green button where we would download the files from the repository, there's this address right here, and copy that, which when I paste that in, you'll notice is the same thing in the address bar, only there's a .git extension to bring in that Git, the power of that we have with the repository. And then where are we going to clone that to? You just browse to some place on your computer. I always keep a folder called delete for working with. I'll create a new folder called Git1. That'll work. And that's the, whoops. That's the folder where I want to put that. So when we hit clone, see that message? It already exists. So what we need to do is, instead of creating that, use the browser. So you don't want to create the folder. I like to throw error messages in class. I find that much more useful to show you all how to deal with the error message. So we're going to go to the delete folder, and then I'm going to put that name, git-1, because using this will, so you can browse to the parent directory, and it's going to want to do the final folder creation of where it's putting it, because there's extra things that are coming with it. So set all that up, and then we get to our little graphical user interface here, showing what's been changed about the repository, what's there. So I guess I'll go over here and look at the folder first. So you see it created that folder. I just deleted it. That's the one that's so easy to forget, but the error message is clear. It says the folder already exists, so it wants to create the folder. And you notice there's the things that are on there. That's what I put on there last night. Here's the current video, or the current one, the video example. I was looking at that word when I was talking, trying to read and talk at the same time. That can be dangerous. You see it brought all those down to a local place. So now we can make another change. Maybe I'll add in, I guess I'll create another Python folder just for, or another Python script just to have something. I'm in regular text editor, so I need to save it first. Stuff.py. And then the .py extension is so the text editor knows to change the colors on it. Message is format a string, or just a string hello world. It's the same thing. Don't need anything fancy here. And then print out message. Don't need anything fancy. The point of this video is GitHub. So there's a Python script, so we need to upload that. So that's saved here, but we need to get it into the repository. So probably would have been better just to save it there to begin with. I'm going to copy that, come in here, and this video example folder, paste it in there. Or even better would be to work right here directly, since it is a local directory. but now it is in that folder where the repository was cloned to. So we can come over here and go through these buttons right in order. So rescan starts at the top. So there's the change. So notice something has changed there. State changed, stage changed. So we're just going right through these buttons in order. Untracked files, yep, do that. And it'll bring it down here. So unstaged means it's not, I think, personally, I think the terminology from like baseball and on deck would make more sense. It's on deck, getting ready to do something with, versus it's the batter steps up to the plate. But they seem to use stage like an actor. So off stage or backstage versus they're in the foreground being observed by the audience. So this is ready to go on there. So we can click on it and you can see the changes here. So additions are in green and removals are in red, and you can see all the changes and stuff. And when you're ready, you need to, two things go in the commit, this box here that says commit message. One is a short description. That's just a couple words, like what it's going to say, so that you can roll back the clock to find it. So like here, added a notebook, added files via upload, initial commit. That's the short description. So you put that on one line. Short description. And skip a line. So come down 2 lines and then a much longer and more detailed survey of what this commit is about. So a nice long description so you can find it in this project get really big and long list. Because with a repository, we can always roll back to any earlier version. So when you're happy with all the changes, and you have to have at least this first name, the second one's optional but very useful. You can say commit, so everything's ready to go. And then once everything after committing the changes, you'll push the changes back to the repository on the main branch, the origin. The defaults are pretty usually acceptable here. We're just going over the bare minimum because that other video was just way too much at once. Too much information to get started. I think that's the problem people were having. Oh, so it says it's successful. So close that. If we come back over here and reload this, we'll see the last change in this folder happened with the commit we called short description, which was this stuff.py thing. So that gives you a local, you can work entirely local. You never have to go over there. I'm just on GitHub here to show you that is that it's working. You would never have to look for it if you know what the example is and everything. Another alternative is we can do that in the command prompt. So when we downloaded the Git Scm, we got this bash command prompt or a command prompt for Windows. We can use those directly, or we can use our regular Windows command prompt or PowerShell or whichever one you would normally use. I'll just open up PowerShell here. Oh. There you go. I'll just open up PowerShell. That'll work. And we can do a lot of the things here. So first off, I'm going to change to my working directory. Documents/delete. Let's see what's there. So there's that one we just used with the GUI. So I'm going to make another folder to do this. So I'll make a directory. Can I zoom in here? Nope. The normal zoom. Oh, that worked a little. Hopefully that's a little bit easier to see. Make a directory called Git2. So I got a new folder there. You can kind of see it there. If I list out what's here. So clear that and change directory into that Git2 folder. So now we're working in the right directory, and currently this is just a regular folder. So when we use the GUI, we had to set all that up. But here, we have to actually initialize it. So Git is the command that's where all our commands are. So that's the first one that goes in every time. And the name GitHub comes from the terminal instruction. It does not go the other way. We did not develop this instruction because there's a thing called GitHub. There's a thing called GitHub because we have this instruction. Just to make sure that that is clear. There's a lot of power. It's a very, very powerful tool. I've been using GitHub in my software development classes for a while. It's something that you really want to learn to work with repositories. And this is definitely the most popular one. There's lots and lots and lots of them out there, but we do need to work with repositories in software development. So first thing we need to do is initialize this folder. So our command for that is git and then init for initialize. And the current directory, we can use the dot operator. Anytime we use a dot, that always refers to the in PowerShell or a Bash shell or Z terminal on Mac or command prompt on Windows. A dot always refers to our current file. So we'll initialize our current folder. Okay, so it says it's a GitHub repository now. Then we need to connect to our repository. So git init. We're going to remotely access stuff. And we need to add the origin of what we're trying to access. And that will be the address here. So again, on the top level, you can copy it from here. You can copy it right from the address bar. Just remember to put the .git extension in or type it in directly. HTTPS is a protocol, so :/ github.com/ well, mine's Francis-Chris5 is my account name, and then this repository was summer 2022-SDEV220.git. So you'll notice there's no message. There's no error message, so it didn't go wrong. We get an error message if it doesn't work. If you need to check that, you can do git remote -v for version, and it will say what you have. So we can see that it is connected. It did successfully connect there, but you get an error message if it doesn't work. So no error message means it's all good. Now we need to grab our repository. So after initialize, then add the origin, then we can git pull origin. We're going to pull that repository we just synced to. And the last part we need is what branch do we want? Because we can have multiple versions working at the same time. We can have alternate versions and switch back and forth between them and choose back and forth. There's only one here, so obviously it needs to be the main branch. But we'll talk about GitHub in pieces over this semester instead of trying to do it all in one sitting. I think that was confusing people. So pull the origin for the main branch. We grabbed a bunch of stuff. We come over here. So here's that folder I just created. And there's the files that it just pulled down from that repository. I guess I need to add another file. So I'll come over here. This time I'll do the better form. So when I create a new file, print hello world again. Not really doing a lot of Python stuff. This time, instead of copying and pasting it in, I will just work right in this folder. So I'll just save it here. For example.py. So once the Python script's there, we need to update it. So what the GUI was calling stage, unstaged, it's unstaged. We have to bring it to the backstage or off stage using the actor references. So we do that with the add command. So git add, and we're at the top level, so we can just say dot, and then that's the current directory, which includes all of the folders and files inside of it. Again, no error message. So we should be ready to create the commit. So again, git instruction, and we want to do commit this time, and -m is the short message that goes on there. That's the one we can see right here and what we use to organize and find things. So some unique thing. Heard in video example, something to make it unique, because we can have alternate versions and move back and forth in time to see every different version and all of that. Looks like it's all there. So after we've done all that, initialize our folder, remotely add the origin. This one's optional, but it's a good option. We pull the origin, make any changes to it we need, then add the changes. The dot refers to the current directory. Make the commit, and then we're ready to git push origin. And just like when we pulled the origin, we have to say what branch we're pushing it back up to. Push it back to the main origin, main branch. It's all there, so it should be good. So if we come over here, reload that, you can see from the short message, there's the latest commit with all those files in there. That'll be enough to get us started. Just use those few things. Okay, it's all on the screen there. So pause the video and take a screenshot of that so you can see all of the commands that you need. And that will get things up and down there. And if you use the GUI, clicking around and looking at things, try some different things, look around. Obviously, that's the way we learn new software, right? Clicking on things, looking around. And when you're doing that on the Git GUI, make sure you click on this button, the visualize change, and see everything that's ever happened to that repository. Like I was just saying, we can get back to any point in time, which is actually easiest on the Git GUI that we download with Git Scm. So that video was very long. Hopefully that's a more condensed version. Some people like GUIs. The history is definitely easiest in that GUI we get with Scm. But if you download Git, just search for download Git, and it should be this first one right here. When you download that, your computer will be set up so that PowerShell, command prompt, or one of the ones that came with that download, you can pass in these instructions or use the GUI if you prefer, especially starting out here at the beginning. Even the web thing will be fine because the limit on uploading files is 100 files. And I don't think we're going to have anything in the class where you need to upload more than 100 files at once. But this is a powerful software development tool, so you probably want to get some practice doing it this way. And that'll get us started, and we'll just add some pieces on as we progress instead of trying to learn it all in one sitting. Hopefully that cleared up some confusion for anybody that was having trouble from that really, really long video that didn't specify things very clearly, like when they were suddenly giving Linux specific instructions. They didn't say those were Linux instructions. They just, I guess, kind of assumed people knew they were doing stuff on a Linux machine, and people on Windows machines, it just wasn't working, and they could, and that video wasn't very clear about that. I will let the person who developed the statewide shell know about that, and my thoughts on, let's work that in slowly over time instead of trying to learn it all in one sitting. Hopefully that helped. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you all soon. If I can find the stop recording button on Zoom, there it is. See y'all soon.